Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Fantasy Nuts. This is Fantasy Football Start, Bench, or On the Fence for Week 11. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Cleveland Browns. I like most of the running backs in this one. I am a little bit worried about the Eagles' offense. They look like crap the last couple weeks, so I'm going with Miles Sanders on the Eagles along with Goedert. I do like a little bit of the short passing game. That's why I like them this week. Chubb, Hunt, Cleveland defense, Landry, again, running backs, and short passing game in this one. Both these offenses have been struggling a little bit in the last month. So I got Carson Wentz on the fence. I would like to start Fulgham, but I'm a little bit worried with Carson Wentz. That's why I'm not completely starting Fulgham this week because I am so worried about Carson Wentz. Fulgham and Rieger are right there on the fence with him. Rashard Higgins, I think, is a sneaky play this week, but until I see him and Baker starting to connect out of the weather, then I will feel more comfortable with him. Bench this week, Baker Mayfield. He is almost perma-benched. I don't know where I would start him. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, bench him. If you play Baker Mayfield, you are nuts. Philadelphia's defense we're benching this week because I think Cleveland's running game is going to put them in the ground a bit, and their whole team has been stinking it up lately. Boston Scott had a nice long run touchdown run last week, but I'm not dependent on that again, so he's definitely a sit. All Cleveland tight ends. Baker doesn't usually throw to the tight ends except for the one good game he had this year. Alshon Jeffrey, again, he's got to have one good game before I even think about playing him, and then I'm still very wary. Falcons versus the Saints. We all thought Jameis Winston was going to be starting this one, and then we just heard that Taysom Hill, the big news, he's going to be starting. Yeah, if you, quick thing on Taysom Hill, if ESPN has him as a tight end for this week, if you have an ESPN league, you must start him on your tight end spot. Unless you have Travis Kelce, otherwise you should probably start him a quarterback in your tight end spot. Every other league, you don't really need to worry about Taysom Hill. Matt Ryan against the Saints. You got to play Matt Ryan this week. The only way to get points on the Saints pretty much is through the air. Kamara play every week. Julio's going. Ridley's coming back off injury. I'm a little bit worried about him, but you got to play him. Just the chemistry between him and Matt Ryan. He's only been stopped one time this year, and that's when he had Jaire Alexander. Hurst, got to start him. Got definitely starting Hill at tight end. Tight ends are thin right now. That's a big one. On the fence, with Emmanuel Sanders last week, he came back and didn't look so hot, and now we got a quarterback change. So I'm just a little worried about anybody who catches the ball right now in New Orleans. Latavius Murray should get a little more work this week, especially with that new quarterback change. I don't expect them to be able to be very efficient throwing the ball. I think they're going to run a little more. If you're in a running back desperate situation, go ahead and start Latavius Murray. Todd Gurley, though. Todd Gurley, I am benching Gurley this week. That New Orleans defense has been shutting down running backs. Top three. They're right there with the likes of Tampa Bay, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh. They're with all of them right there. They are shutting down the run. Michael Thomas, I want to see one good game out of him before I play him. He's sitting on the bench right now. As good as he is, new quarterback change. I don't know how this is going to go. I have no idea. He could go off with Taysom Hill. He could be a Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston swap back and forth, and he could go off with Winston. Who knows? But I'm not comfortable yet, so he's on my bench. Emmanuel Sanders, he's on the bench. Okay, he already had him on the fence, but he's a bench. Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders is a bench this week for me. Taysom Hill at quarterback is a bench. Jared Cook and Gage also, I'm just afraid, not enough to go around in Atlanta for Gage, and I'm afraid of that passing in New Orleans, so sitting Jared Cook. This looks like it's going to be a good fantasy game to me. We got two teams that have been in high-scoring games for the last month pretty much, for the most part, playing each other. Washington's defense is kind of weakening up a little bit as it goes along, so I'm going Burrow, sneaky play with Alex Smith, starting Smith, Gio, McKissick, Gibson, pretty much all the backs in this one. Higgins, McLaurin, the top receiver from each team. I would start. Anybody else, I don't know if there's going to be enough to go around. I expect a lot to happen on the ground this game. Logan Thomas, tight end, thin, definitely starting him. Boyd, I'm on the fence. I'm leaning start Boyd, but if you have better options, I could see you playing somebody else. Cam Sims is still a speculative guy. I would sit him this week, but I'm watching him. That could be a guy to add if Alex Smith keeps throwing to him. Washington defense, because Cincinnati throws so much, I wouldn't play Washington defense this week. I'm on the fence. If you're desperate and you need a defense, go ahead, but I would bench Washington defense this week. Realistically, I don't know why he's on a roster right now. AJ Green is just not worth having. And Cincinnati defense has been off and on, but I don't expect anything out of the way Washington has been moving the ball. Detroit versus Carolina. Matt Stafford, a thumb issue, ligaments. I hear. Anytime you hear ligaments, that's kind of scary. The word is he's going to play, but how well will he play? I don't know. It's on his throwing hand too, so it could be, they give him some painkillers and he goes Brett Favre like back in the day and playing with a broken wrist and still kills it. So who knows? I'm going to say that Matt Stafford does not have a good game with that thumb, and I do not like this game at all. Besides Mike Davis and sneaky play of Carolina defense, I don't like anybody else in this game. The Marvin Jones Jr., Marvin Hall, don't like them. Panthers wide receivers, you could start one of them. I wouldn't mind starting Samuel. I wouldn't mind starting Moore. I'm kind of fading away from Robbie Anderson a little bit, but I mean that's a desperation play. I'd much rather start a receiver who's guaranteed to get more work. I'm a true number one, or even a true number two in a lot of cases, like Deontay Johnson. Even I would much rather have than the Panthers receivers in this game, especially the way Detroit gives it up on the ground. Mike Davis should kill. Adrian Peterson, I don't like. He's too far in the season for him. He's going to die of old age anytime now. I'm watching Kerryon Johnson this game like a hawk because Swift is out with a concussion. Detroit's defense is not good this game. I don't like them at all this game. I don't like them most games, but nah, even Teddy Bridgewater also might not play this game. He's not on the list. He's questionable, but I would bench Teddy Bridgewater as well. This is going to be a rough game, I believe. Steelers versus Jaguars. This game is my bet my mustache game. It's in the bench there with all Jaguars who are not DJ Chark. On the bench is benching all Jaguars who are not DJ Chark in this game. And the main one I'm benching is James Robinson. He is coming off a little bit of a shoulder injury. He's going to play. He looks like he's okay, but that Pittsburgh defense just tears running backs apart. And I do not like, even in full PPR, I do not like James Robinson to even get 10 points this week. That's why I said 10 points, shaving off the full stash, 16 points, half stash, left or right. You guys can choose. I don't think he's going to hit either one of those point markers, so I don't think I have to worry about it. We're starting Ben Roethlisberger, and we're starting all his receivers because it's hard picking which one. I think 2 out of 3 of them are going to go off, so I'm not taking a chance and sitting the one that's going off here between Claypool, Juju, and Deontay Johnson. They just like to throw, throw, throw. And because they like to throw, 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 James Conner has not been involved very much lately. I do think this is going to be the week with this terrible Jacksonville Jaguar defense that he's going to get his legs going again. If he doesn't, I'm going to be very worried about him going forward. But for right now, I'm playing James Conner this week. I like him to get like 14 points. I do think Pittsburgh's going to have a lot of points in this game. Um, Pittsburgh defense as well, sacks, turnovers. That's a good, always rolling Pittsburgh defense, especially against the Jaguars. And DJ Chark, because Pittsburgh does give up a little bit through the air, and he is Jacksonville's number one receiver, and they're going to need to throw. I'm going DJ Chark. Um, Keelan Cole, I could see starting him if you're desperate. That could happen, but he's in that bench category right now with me with all those Jaguars because you probably have a better option. Most people do at receiver. Eric Ebron on the fence. Don't know if there's going to be enough to go around, and Jaguars have been historically decent at stopping the tight end. Tennessee versus Baltimore. This is going to be a really good game. It's a rematch for the playoffs last year. These teams aren't where they were at that point. They're both kind of falling apart a little right now. So this could be a rebound game for whoever squeaks out the win on this one. I like Tennessee, but we'll see. Derrick Henry, forced to be reckoned with. You don't sit Henry. The way Baltimore's defense has been playing, and they got a little bit of injuries right now, I'm going to go ahead and start Tannehill and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown did have a stinker last week, but I think he's going to rebound, and I think Tannehill's going to do just fine this week. Tannehill, I'm calling right now, Tannehill's going to sneak one in on the ground. He's going to get one of his rushing touchdowns this week against that Baltimore defense. That's a little bit of a bold call, I guess. Starting Lamar Jackson. I'm on the fence with all Baltimore running backs. Ingram is getting healthier and healthier, so he's worrying me a little bit with the other two. Gus Edwards is the ground and pound guy. I'm in a desperate situation, so I have to choose between Duke Johnson and Gus Edwards, and I'm leaning Duke Johnson. So I'm leaning sit all those Baltimore running backs. I mean, good luck which one of the three is going to get the work this week. Corey Davis, I don't trust Corey Davis. I've been saying it all year. I've been saying it for 2 years. No, he has a couple of good games here and there. And besides that, he doesn't have the volume. He doesn't know. He's always injured. No Corey Davis for me. Jonnu Smith, I'm sitting on this one because that Baltimore linebacking crew is pretty good. So I don't think he's going to get his this game. He could. I mean, if you're desperate, tight end, most people are desperate. So you're probably going to start him, but I'm sitting him this week. Both defenses have been playing pretty bad lately. So I'm not starting either defense in this game. The Patriots versus the Texans. Here we go. We got Deshaun Watson going in this one. Brandon Cooks, Fuller. I do think Houston's going to really get it done through the air. Even if Gilmore is back, he is going to be a little bit rusty, I think. And Duke Johnson, because how bad New England has been on the ground, I'm going with Duke Johnson this week. I got him starting my RB2 spot because I'm running back desperate, but I would start him in a lot of flexes this week as well. Cam Newton should be able to get his on the ground against that porous Houston rushing defense. Jakobi Meyers, him and Cam have been connecting a lot lately, and he's the number one receiver there now, and he's got enough volume to sustain going forward, I believe. I like Jakobi Meyers now and in the future. ROS. On the fence with Rex Burkhead. I don't know with Sony Michel coming back if it's going to cut into his workload too. It'll most likely cut into Damian Harris's workload, but I'm just, if you're desperate, go ahead and start Rex Burkhead in your RB2 or your flex. But if you're not desperate, don't start him over a quality back this week. Benching all tight ends in this one. There's just been nothing happening as Houston keeps going from one guy to another, injuries, this and that. New England doesn't really have one right now that I consider worth playing at all. Both defenses in this game. I think this is going to be a little bit of a high scoring matchup. So we're sitting both defenses. Randall Cobb, I don't think there's been enough to go around for him to get his with Fuller and Cooks getting theirs. And Duke Johnson possibly getting his too. Damian Harris and Sony Michel. Again, with Sony Michel coming back, I don't like either one of them because the workload is lacking. Miami versus Denver. I know last week I said this was Melvin Gordon's last stand, but this is Melvin Gordon's last stand. If Melvin Gordon doesn't get double digits, you are fantasy dead to me, and I'm not playing you anymore, Melvin Gordon. Oh, geez. That guy has been that's all I got to say. Jerry Jeudy. I like Jerry Jeudy this week. They're going to have to throw. I know Locke is questionable, might not play. Even if the backup plays, I think it's still going to be fine for Jeudy. He still gets his, and they're going to have to throw. Tua, I like Tua this week. Not on the high end of things. If they have better options, you could start them over Tua. Go ahead and start Gesicki this week at that tight end thin position. Salvon Ahmed, last week he did well. No Gaskin yet. Denver's defense is pretty bad. I'm running him against that Denver D. Devontae Parker, again, Denver defense pretty bad. I do like Devontae Parker's chance to get a nice red zone look touchdown from Tua. Noah Fant, I'm not liking him. He's coming off an injury. Drew Lock may or may not play. I'm leaning sit Noah Fant. Jakeem Grant, keep your eye on him. If he overtakes Parker again this week, he's probably the new number one in Miami. So watch Jakeem Grant. Play him if you're desperate, but definitely watch him. Sitting Locke, Hamler, Patrick this week. Lindsey, just not enough of that Denver offense to get going. Lindsey had a toe issue the last couple of weeks, and he looked like it last week. I'm not ready to start Lindsey until I see something out of him. Here we have a shootout in the making, the Jets versus the Chargers. Herbert! 2 weeks ago, when Adam Gase gave away the play calling, the Jets offense has been looking decent, and their defense is still pretty porous. Chargers defense is terrible. Offense is good. This is all the makings of a shootout right here. Going Herbert. Love Herbert. I'm playing him every week. Everybody should. Balaj, I like him in this game. He's been doing well lately, and that Jets defense is not very good. Keenan Allen is a plug and play. Same with Hunter Henry with that big-time Chargers offense. Joe Flacco is a sneaky play this week. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think Flacco is going to get his. Crowder, I also think is going to get his. LaMichael Pirine, I like him this week. They said they're going to test him out as the feature back, and we're going to see if that works out. On the fence with Bashard Perryman. Bashard Perryman had a 100-yard, 2-touchdown game last game he played, and he's not questionable anymore. He's off the injury list, so I would think about playing him if you're desperate, but Bashard Perryman is definitely going to be a pickup if he does something this week. Watch him on the wire. Mike Williams, I don't know if there's been enough to go around. He's a desperate play. I would sit Mike Williams. Mims, same thing. I put him right there with Williams, about the same. If you're desperate, you could start him. If not, don't do it. Kelly, definitely sitting Kelly. He hasn't done much all year. His average yard per carry is terrible. So Kelly's pretty much fantasy dead to me. Frank Gore, definitely sitting him after the news of P. Ryan, supposed to be the feature back. Sitting both defenses in this one. Shootout. Do not play any of these defenses. Green Bay versus Indianapolis. I think that Indy's defense is going to stifle Green Bay a little bit, and vice versa. I expect a good amount of turnovers and kind of a low-scoring game out of this one. Devontae Adams is going to get his. I like starting both defenses because of that. And Mo Alie-Cox is back healthy from injury, and I think that he's going to sneak right in undetected because he hasn't been there in the last month or so. And I think he's going to have a decent game. I mean, he's been there, but he hasn't really, been healthy. He's finally healthy. So I'm playing Mo Alie-Cox this week. He's my sleeper tight end of the week. And then on the fence with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones. Yeah, that Indy defense is so tough. I'm contemplating sitting Aaron Jones this week. If I had a better option that wasn't Gus Edwards, I probably would. Colts running backs, sitting them all. Nyheim Hines, if it's PPR, you could take the chance. Any of the rest of those Colts running backs, just don't do it. Don't do it. Michael Pittman Jr., he was my number one waiver pickup for my receivers this week, and I picked him up. I like him going forward. If he emerges out of that group there, they have a great fantasy playoff schedule. He could be really good down the line, so watch him. Williams, not enough to go around for backup running back. MVS, very defensive game. He could get his, but I just don't like him to this game. Same with Tanyan. Adams is playing. Tanyan hasn't done anything since Adams has come back. Rivers, good for a pick or two probably there, maybe even a pick 6. T.Y. Hilton hasn't done anything for a while. This is Michael Pittman's team to take over in that wide receiver group, and same reason I'm sitting Pascal. Dallas versus Minnesota. Andy Dalton is back this week. He should be a little bit rusty, but I do like starting Amari Cooper because of that. Also, Dalton Schultz, tight end thin position. Go with Dalton Schultz. Dalvin Cook, no-brainer. Thielen and Jefferson, I'm playing them. It's going to be hard to sit them, picking which game not to play them in, who goes off, who doesn't. So they're pretty much just both starts from the most of the season until the fantasy playoffs. Minnesota defense should do decently. They've been playing better every week, and against this Dallas offense, I think they should be eating them up. I'm on the fence with Kirk Cousins. He can get you 2. He can get you 20. Good luck guessing which week that is. If it's me, if I put him in, he's getting 2, so I'm not doing it. Lamb, I want to see how Lamb connects with Dalton when he comes back. I'm not ready to start Lamb again. I could if I was desperate, but I'd be really desperate to play Lamb right out the gate with Dalton coming back his first week. Definitely benching Dalton and Gallup for that same reason. Zeke hasn't had a double-digit game in a month now, so I'm benching Zeke until he shows some life. And that Dallas defense, no, not going to do it. They've been playing a little better as of late, but no, they're not doing it for me. Kansas City versus the Raiders. We got Mahomes is going CEH against that porous run Raider defense who has Colin Farrell is out on COVID this week. I believe other defensive linemen for the Raiders were close contacts, so they're out right now too. Some of them might come back, some of them might not. But either way, I'm starting CEH this week. And the other Kansas City staples, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, they're going. And then Vegas side, I'm starting Jacobs. Jacobs is on a roll. Kansas City gives it up a little bit to the running back. Jacobs is usually good. 60% of games, he's good to go, and this is one of those. Darren, I am the walrus. You do not sit him. Ruggs is on the fence. If you're desperate, you could go because they're probably going to need to throw. He could have a game this one. I'm actually kind of leaning start Ruggs on this one because Nelson Aguilar is kind of fading away. Carr's not really throwing him as much lately, and Carr's been having a time lately, so he's kind of regressing. So for that reason, I do have Carr and Aguilar benching. Robinson, Hardman, not enough to go around. Who gets the 70 yards and the 1 touchdown between them two? Good luck, especially with Sammy Watkins back. I'm benching all 3 of those Kansas City receivers. Renfro, not enough to go around there. Booker, if you're desperate, Vegas is leading towards a run. Last week, they might do that again. They might go run heavy. They might run 35 times this game. And if they do, Booker could be a decent flex, but, I mean, it's a shot in the dark. So at your own risk right there, I'm benching him. And Le'Veon Bell is fantasy dead to me. Monday Night Football, Rams versus the Bucs. I got a little bit of a hot take on this one. Most people think that I've talked to think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I do not. I think it's going to be a defensive-ruled game. Rams offense has been getting, held in check the last couple games they've played. Tampa Bay's off and on. The Rams defense, both defenses have been playing so well. I'm starting Gronk in this one, starting Godwin in this one. I do think Lattimore might get Evans, and because it's such a low-scoring game, you might get a couple guys. So my guys are Gronk and Godwin in this one who's going to get the work. Kupp and Woods should get their receptions. I don't know about how many touchdowns and all that, but they're going to get their receptions. They're going to get their yards. They're decent enough to start for me this week. I'm on the fence with all quarterbacks in this game. All quarterbacks worry me in this game because I do think it's going to be low scoring. I would rather have a better option. Some people do not, but I mean, if you have a better option, take it over those guys. This sounds crazy, but I would rather have Alex Smith over either one of those guys. Yeah, I would rather have Alex Smith over Goff or Brady this week. That's nuts. And so I'm sitting AB this week for that same reason. He could get 70 yards and a touchdown, but I mean, good luck with that. Rojo, if you're desperate, you could play him. Otherwise, I'm sitting him. All running backs in this game who are not Rojo, I'm definitely sitting. Baby Belichick sitting there with his Henderson, Brown, and Akers combo, throwing darts all over the place. Yeah, I'm good on that. Mike Evans, I'm sitting him this week. He was a good play last week. I think that he's going to get Lattimore this week, and in a low-scoring game, getting Lattimore, I'm sitting him. Miller, not enough points, not enough to go around. I'm sitting Miller. Rams tight ends is another too crowded. Who gets it? I don't know. Josh Reynolds, not enough to go around. I'm sitting all those guys, benching them. Keep your eye on these guys. I took some guys off the list who underperformed last week, added a couple people on the list, highlighted people who are on the list who did well, who are probably gone in your league. If the guys who are highlighted green on this list are still available in your league, you're sleeping and you should probably pick them up. Alex Smith is almost turning green. Yeah, I would be looking at him pretty hard. Derek Carr's kind of fading away. He has one more bad game against the Chiefs this week. He's coming off the list. Tua's probably gone. He's a rookie darling. He's probably already gone in your league. Goddard probably already gone. If he's not, get him. Logan Thomas, if he's there, your league is asleep. But watch for Dalton Schultz. Myers, Grant, Billy Snead, Michael Pittman, MVS. These are all great pickups. Denzel Mims is a decent pickup. Rashard Perryman as well. J.D. McKissick, he's got to come off this list next week because everybody's already got him. Same with Wayne Gallman. You can't even watch him anymore. He's gone. Kalen Ballage, Burkhead, Ahmed, those guys are probably all gone. Running backs, you got to be pretty quick on because people jump all over the running backs. So just keep your eye on these guys and see what happens here. I would like to thank everybody for watching another episode of Fantasy Nuts with Ryan Allman. This is week 11, start bench or on the fence. I hope you win your fantasy games this week. Thank you for being here. Please, I need all the people I can get. Please subscribe. Click the little glowing circle Fantasy Nuts logo down here. And thank you. I hope you win your fantasy games again. I hope it gave you some great advice. And good luck.